family, welcome back to the Fortnite World Cup Online Open Qualifiers. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
How you doing? We are here, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, it is finals day, week number 8, duo competition. We're about to punch some tickets, and it's about to be an awesome, awesome day. As always, we've got the crew out. Bala TW, Sundown, Pookie Face, Kitty Plays, and Golden Boy. He is a local treasure. A local icon.
Local legend.
Here we are.
Local legend. Now, Fortnite fans, if you guys have been with us, you know exactly how this goes. But let's get you guys refreshed very quickly and see how the day is going to go, starting with that schedule. Oceania and Asia have already concluded their games as of this morning. We're going to be hopping into some of the European action now. We'll hop into Brazil games later on with some Oceania and Asia replays, and then we'll wrap the day later on with NA East and then NA West. Now, of course, that format, this is duo competition, so we're going to be looking at top 15, top 10, top 5, and the Victory Royale are all the placement thresholds, and every elim is a single point on the board. $1 million every single week on the line for these players. You like to see it, but of course, there's qualifying spots on the line. Now, you guys are really excited. All right, we're excited. It's finals day. We know what you like to do, and that's hit up social media. Let's take a look at some of your incredible reactions, responses as you geared up for today's competition. Rise and grind, gamers. Let's get this bread. Is that Golden Boy?
Obtain
no, that
this
is not.
grain.
That is not Golden Boy. Okay, I just want to be sure. Ninja and Reverse UK got this today. Hashtag Fortnite World Cup. Ninja, good luck today, man. Let's see how we do on finals. I'll do my best. Heart face. If we don't qual, I'm still confident for week 10. There you go, Leo. Qualified for EU finals on top 1,700. You like to see it. You like to see it. Now, obviously, Sundown, OCE, and Asia wrapped up this morning. So why don't we use your help to take a look at the standings, see how these players did.
Yeah, let's take a peek into what those matches are. Now, again, there were no qualifying spots up for grabs this week, but still a lot to be playing for, a lot on the line in terms of that prize money. You can see, again, it's those familiar names up at the top. I mean, just look at the first 5 teams. That's basically Oceania Fortnite in a nutshell. Jinx and Shy Shy, Carry On and Colt, Zore and Geese, the X2 twins, and then Volks and Parpy right behind it. So no surprises. Also, want to give a huge shout out to Lachlan and Mr. Fresh Asian. They had an incredible run last night with Lockie making some great plays as well, with some great matches coming in, and can't wait to see what they have going into week 10. Because again, there are now only the single duo spot and single solo spot up for grabs. So these are kind of the names you're gonna want to be keeping an eye on. And Shy Shy and Jinx in particular, if you haven't watched them play, the thing for them is they pop off, in particularly in these endgame scenarios. While a lot of Oceania is known for being aggressive, particularly in the mid and in the early, where they get a lot of their elims are running through those tarps, working top down, but going top down earlier than other teams. And you can actually see Zore doing a bit of that here without his partner Geese. The jam duos have been on the scene as well, so a lot of guys who need to be keeping an eye on, not only in week 9 for solos, but in week 10 for duos, because again, with only one more spot in each one of those game types, it's going to be so close.
There you go. Like I talked about earlier, Asia also concluded their games overnight. We'll take a look at their leaderboard, see how those players did as well, and who'll be taking home that cash prize. Take a look together. But yeah, man, an awesome set of games happening this morning. I would love to take a look whenever you guys are ready. I mean, did you end up staying up this night and watch OCE?
So I watched some of the matches. I didn't stay all the way up.
No.
I was, as Zeke would know very well, he took care of me. He got to play a little bit on the mom side, but took care of me on Friday, was dealing a little bit of my stomach stuff, but did sleep a little bit. You can see now the Asia results are up there, in Puz and Ming taking the top spot away. I believe they also got that top spot in week 4, so that's going to hurt a little bit not having the qualifying spot there, but a good run going into week 10. But again, we talk about names you see all the time. Big props to the Meta Boys taking 2nd and 3rd, as well as Envy and Sinu playing on NA West yesterday in the semifinals and being in the top 10 pretty much the entire time. Really impressive showing. And then again, Takamura and Rizart, the players coming out from Japan, 2 of the players who have qualified for the solo side of things. So very impressive so far, but we're going to take a look at some of the gameplay that has come out. And again, we've known these top duos for being particularly strong in all phases of the game, whether it is FaxFox and Banny or it is Puzz and Ming, but in particular when they do decide to go aggressive, some of these edit plays are just really clean and being able to take advantage of their opponent and getting it done with whatever they have off the drop right away. You see Ming here putting pressure down with that rare tack and getting the elim and then working down right away. And I mean, sometimes it's just what you got going on. Sometimes your loot is just a little better. Falling on to a rare tack will let you go on a spree right off the bat. And sometimes you got to use every little bit in your kit to get it done, picking up a nice double right there. Again, brilliant performance, but they're going to want to repeat it in week 10. Again, one qualifying spot up for grabs there.
Now, guys, we're getting ready to hop into Europe games. We're very quickly, let's take a look at the standings, see how things are going for these players right now. Mongrel and Mitro, these guys have already qualified, and yet again, they're already dominating the current leaderboard as we speak. And of course, Tachinkan and Stompy up here as well.
Yeah, always going to be up there. They don't know how to keep themselves off of that Sunday leaderboard. Very rude of them, you know, just racking in the paychecks and a little bit of that extra practice. But right now, we got a lot of people contending. Again, 4 spots will be up for grabs, and no team who has previously qualified will be able to take him. All of these guys are well within range.
Jane, why don't you start at the beginning?
Something's happened to me, something I can't control. And it scares me. It feels good.
She'll kill us all. The girl dies. Get down!
Are you threatening me? Because that would be a bad idea.
X-Men Dark Phoenix, donderdag in de bioscoop.
And minus Mongrel and Mitral's kind of spread up at the top here, all these guys within 4 points of each other. 4 points. That's an elim to get you into the top 25 is the difference going on there. So I'm not saying all of this will change, but it very much so has the potential to, because all of these guys are very good. Also, not bad sniper. Good gameplay so far. I always challenge you to bring it over onto Sunday because you are a little bit of that Saturday hero, and so far you're doing it.
Yeah, well, guys, know what you're ready for? Let's hop into some of these games. We got 2 casters on deck, and I'm very excited because one of my favorite caster pair, Golden Boy and Kitty Plays. You guys take it away.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. If you're in the EU region right now, I'm so excited to get into these games.
I split my legs. I split my legs so much. I didn't mean to do that.
Well, if I do, then we can be a better height difference.
Whoa. All right, there you go. That works out. Anyway, that's right. It couldn't be a start without some awkwardness. Let's jump into the action. Got you covered, Kitty.
Oh, love that. I feel like when you point out the awkwardness, then it makes it awkward. But when you just own it, everyone's like, ah.
No, I think owning the awkwardness and pointing it out is is like one of the same, isn't it?
There's, yeah, definitely, 100%. So we're back.
Believe me?
Absolutely, GV, absolutely. So we're getting into games right away. If you guys are new to the Fortnite stream, how we do these games is we drop in on the top lobbies, your favorite players, and some news stories that we want to tell in the 4th, 5th, or 6th zone, and make sure that we're bringing you the top action. Now, this is the day to qualify. We've got 4 spots for the EU region for these guys to be able to come to the finals end of July. $1 million tournament.
It's going to be huge for a lot of our players, and just, you know, to kind of shine a light on the players that we actually checked out just a second ago was Stompy and Tachinkan, 2 of our premier players that have been playing so well, and Larson and Faji. They connect there with a double snipe combination. An nade flies inside of the box there, is going to completely obliterate the shields from Larson. Tried to edit out of there in time, but it did not work out.
No, and it does look like they are going to go for that rift with this rotation. Ooh, I like this back bling with that glider combination. And he does have those 2 boogie bombs. It's going to be interesting to see how he decides to use that. In the past, a lot of players opting to go for that to be able to utilize it against the ballers. But now with this meta, we're not seeing as many ballers in the late game. So could be just an interesting, surprising play.
Yeah, I think the baller has certainly been, you know, a topic for a lot of discussion when it was out the previous week. I think some players, you know, it really adjusted the play style for a lot of our competitors. And then, people do set their strategies around that utility vehicle, right? Because you're able to survive for so long, and who can blame them? It is 100% a viable strategy to take full advantage of. And you're going to see a few of the ballers out and about here. But WK LMAO is looking to gatekeep, picks up the elimination on Mo Cars there. And that is going to lead to the second elim for this duo, currently sitting at 30 points. And we're getting close to our first placement threshold. We're going to have a few players left here, or a few duos, I should say, rather, left. And I like this movement from this duo. They're going all the way around, and they want to get right back against the storm, and then try and see if they can catch players off the rotation.
Yeah, these guys do not have any mobility in their inventory, so I really like their utilization of that geyser there into the slipstream next to them. They know that they don't have the rotation with the shadow bomb or with the rifts or with the jump pad. So being able to position themselves constantly in their base next to these points of interest is so smart on their part. And down here we got Moth Likes Lamps and Cold is Freezing. Very great usernames, guys.
I'm just glad that they're informing us of these things, because I wouldn't have known otherwise.
You didn't know that Moth likes lamps. Oh.
I mean, it's just, hey man, I don't really have a lot of moths in the Bronx.
Or cold.
But cold, I'm definitely not having that in New York right now.
Okay.
That much. It's actually colder here in California than it is in New York.
Yeah, that is true. Same, warmer in Canada right now. I don't know how that's happening.
I don't know how the world works, clearly.
Don't know how the world works.
I don't know. I don't. It's not supposed to be cold here. It's supposed to be hot.
It is, yeah. Well, these two are making sure that they're working together to get these eliminations.
Some could say they're heating up.
They are heating up. Yes. You paused way too long.
Just because.
Good morning, everybody.
just because Pooks isn't here doesn't mean we can't get a little punny.
This is true.
Okay. Or just because she's not casting with you right now. I don't think you're going to get away from it.
Definitely. Well, we're in this game.
We're here. This is the world we live in.
This is a game.
We
live in a society. We got Shinken and Stompy, who we are profiling a lot yesterday. These two are 100% to look out for. Their excellent gameplay, their great communication and teamwork is really setting them apart from the rest of their competitors. And already picking up 3 eliminations. They don't have the best of inventories, but I mean, just being able to have that redeploy and know that you can do a one thin carpeting tactic like that, save your resources, maintain that high ground. They do get shot down, but immediately making sure they land where they can retake high ground right away. And plenty of opportunities for them to shoot some players out of the sky. It'll be interesting to see if they can convert on that.
And you can also, just another note here, we are going to be within the top 15, so all these players are going to start to earn themselves 3 points, and then you can see the breakdown from there. But this is certainly going to be the duo that, I don't know, you're kind of crazy if you don't think this is a favorite for duos in the World Cup final in New York City, with how well they play, how consistent they are, always in that top 10, always slaying out. And they're not just doing this in the Saturday lobbies, they're doing it in the Sunday lobbies, which are the better players, right? Statistically speaking, top 1,500 duos. But furthermore, they're going to be surrounded by their peers, players who have been competing in big competitions throughout Fortnite's competitive history, time and time again. And it's going to be Tachinkin and Stompy that own this. And Kitty, we're getting down to the wire here, and this is looking really good considering where Stompy and Tachinkin are located in that high ground.
Yep, they have that high ground, and I know we talked about a lot of players moving into the zone right away and then shooting back, but their strategy is to sit right at that back edge of the zone and pick off anyone making that early rotation, and it's always working out for them. So Stompy now making that play, breaking that wall, trying to take any of these walls, take advantage of the little bit of chaos that's caused when you're having to move with these storms. We saw him pick up 2 eliminations with this tac shotgun, and so don't be worried. If you don't have the best shotgun in the game, it doesn't seem to matter. We did spectate Cold is Freezing earlier. Now it looks like he's going to go and take off Moth Likes Lamps.
You know, there are a lot of people on the Fortnite competitive Reddit that are not the biggest fan of the gray tac shotty, and I totally get it. But right now, Stompy's going to be using the green one, which isn't, the best one either, right? It's not, I would think anyone would prefer the combat shotty, right, in a scenario like this. But if you're just consistent and connecting those shots, it doesn't really matter. the way that Stompy and Tachinkin play, any weapon that's going to be in their possession is going to be a gold tier weapon. That's just how good they are. We're going to have 4 duos left in this one. Stompy and Tachinkin going to be owning the high ground. In the ultimate load's going to be Moth, and then Pickles goes down for the fight. But Larson is going to engage, and that's going to lead us now into 2v1. And this is not looking good here for Larson, especially with the way that Tachinkin and Stompy like to swarm their opponents. And they're going to jump right in there. And I was thinking that they were going to try and phase into the flooring, but he's waiting around. He does identify the player. Stompy going on the hunt. He's down low. He knows he's going to have to push Stompy down to 4 HP, and that's the connection. 75 critical, and the victory royale for this dominating duo. You dance away.
Can we talk about that for a second? Stompy picked up 7 eliminations. I think most of them were with that tactical shotgun, just finding the right moment and time to get those last shots on the low players, trying to evade the storm. Just excellent gameplay. Shinken the whole time holding that high ground, and then Stompy dominating the low. Just great teamwork coming out from those two already in these, we're about midway through the European region right now. We got a lot more to go, but these guys are really, really telling the world why they're in their position.
It's so hard to take them off of the high ground too. The second that they have that positioning, not many players can wrestle that away from them. And I'll say it, so for those in the back can hear, they are the favorites in my mind for New York City. And it seems like they're putting some pressure down on a player below here who's trying to defend. Along with that drum gun, you're going to get a lot of damage output with that weapon. These players, look how pinned they're pinned with their backs right at the storm there, right at the wall, and someone's going to actually go in there and challenge for it. But BTO for ZR gets the elimination. That's going to be 2, bringing them right back up
and
to
an RPG. Some loot, really great loot moving in to this next zone. Just having that RPG late game is so important.
1,000 medium bullets, by the way.
Yeah, when you've got a drum gun and an AR from both players raining down on you, it's so hard to keep that wall up and make sure that there's no shots coming through, and they get both eliminations. Great gameplay from both of them.
So they will be inside of the safe zone. You were in that half in, half out circle. Some players have also rotated and they're landing above them. Of course, they're not too
I feel like I have to be perfect. There's something about fear that pushes me.
To the fact that Norward and 4ZR were down below, but maybe this is going to be the element of surprise that could work in the favor. We've got 2 players left before we hit our first elimination threshold. 3 points for all the players in the lobby.
Yeah, and one thing that's important to recognize what Noword is doing right now, which is a common tactic of these players at this level, is they count the amount of resources on the body, and then they'll go through and they'll make sure to build as much as they can and then come back and restock their wood. So they've got all those walls that they can use later if they need. And that combo with the RPG, getting that elimination, and now they don't have to worry about that side push.
And Nowhere to just defending here with wood. He's going to be using a little bit of resources. That tag didn't come from a shot, but it came from the lingering stink grenade that was hanging out there. So it's going to be someone going a little cheeky push there for the crate, and everyone sees him. He's getting pressured not only from in front, but also from the players that are going to be up above. And then Sokka needs to get out of there, hop into the baller, and just run away, tail tucked between his legs.
Yeah, a little bit of a regretful moment for him. He did take a lot of tags from both of those teams, and in this late game, players do recognize how important that RPG is, and that's where you're going to find it, in that supply drop. So looking to maybe change his odds of winning there, but I mean, we saw the last game. You don't need an RPG to win these games.
No. You need good coordination like that. Katu and Robnik get the double snipe play. We've seen this so many times, and each and every time it is as impressive as the last. A few upgrades as well for the kit, and they're going to go right back to the back of the storm, the edge of the storm.
Yeah, really interesting zone coming out here for these guys. It's almost half off the cliff there, so they're really going to need to be careful. Katu picking up a lot of damage on that rotation.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
I felt good about that one. It's just very few cases I'll make a joke and I'm like, oh, that was witty. That was it. Well said.
You did it.
Thanks, guys.
Everyone
Appreciate
make
it.
sure to add
like to
Golden
thank
Boy
my
on
mom.
Twitter and let him know how great his jokes are. Make sure to include the hashtag Fortnite World Cup as well.
This isn't gonna
And
go
you might
well.
end up on the board.
Then again, though, people loved my shirt yesterday, so maybe if they love my shirt, they love my jokes. The two are the same.
Maybe that's just the ones they chose. Positivity. No, I'm a positivity warrior over here. Oh, Kitsu taking advantage of that side wall. That player was just busy looting and does get taken out. I love the use of the jump pad in the store, making sure that no players are going to be using that as well, unless they're crazy enough to take some extra damage. Thankfully, both of those guys do have their build on the side of the mountain that they can just get back into there. We got Ascend having a nice tunnel here that he gets to follow. You see Dwill created that whole tunnel for now DJH to follow him through, but right above him is where's ZR? 6 eliminations to his name, 9 from his partners. So these guys are in a great position. Be great if he could find some rockets. He does have that RPG available for him, but I don't know how much he'll need it with the amount of drum gun.
Oh, we got a little bit of a stairway to heaven up there, or I should say a little heaven platform there. You're gonna have Crawl and drops all the way down. And I am actually surprised that Crawl had a build that high up and did not have redeploy.
I think with the amount that you saw him carpeting, he thought that no one was going to notice him, and he was doubling up with metal, but the drum gun just, can shred through that at that point, and he had enough time to shoot it, and no one was punishing him for taking it down. So.
Yeah, but it's just so high up. You typically see a player with redeploy in that instance.
Definitely.
But
Not the best strategy. And also coming down off that mountain, sometimes you don't realize how high you are, because you could be level with the top of the mountain, but now that there's a steep cliff below you.
That's true, right? What was once a decent, positioning as far as the height becomes that much more perilous because you're going to be, you have the cliff. You're going to be so much higher up in the sky. But now we got Slide, Phil, and Tokyo. Have a few players, and some players outside in the storm, too.
Nice little nook to be able to shoot through and try and get these players who are now, I think, caught on the side of the hill. But these two are just hugging each other so closely. He's got 6 impulses in his inventory. Need to make a fun rotation. And right away, 2v1 does take out his Tokyo. So now Phil is on his own, moving through into these next final moments.
Yeah, credit to Stepter there for making a bad situation at least go in their favor by snagging the down and then getting that elimination. Oh, actually, Tokyo is out of this, but that is neither here nor there. Slide Phil will get elimination number 3 now. We're going to be down to a 1v1v1, a good old-fashioned free-for-all between these 3 competitors, and it's going to be Putrick who goes lower, and this is
Are they off the cliff right now?
Off the cliff? This is craziness.
This zone? Oh my gosh, yes, they are on this edge of the cliff right now. They got to be so careful where they're building beats.
This is crazy.
This is crazy. Putrick and Phil in the same box. Putrick does get that trap elimination. 4ZR waiting for him, waiting for any opportunity he can. He's going to need to go up the hill now.
Putrick has no builds. He has no more builds remaining. That's it. He's done with builds, and it's going to show. 4ZR gets the victory royale. He had nothing to defend himself with, but man, that was a bit of a zone.
Emote to boot. Yeah, 8 eliminations coming out there, making sure that he knows why he's in that position, why he's getting that victory royale. Great positioning throughout that entire map. That was a crazy zone.
I've never seen a zone
on the edge like that.
I haven't seen one like that in a while. Yeah, right off the edge, nothing down below. Hectic stuff there, but that's, of course, where the key mechanic in Fortnite comes into play. The building worked out very well there for 4ZR, who had more builds remaining than his opponent. And look at the dynamite placement.
Wow. Really interesting time to use Diamondite, but if it works, it works. I mean, we talked about how this is an item that just goes up in value into the late game, but these two are able to pick up an elimination from that. 3 eliminations total now. CRR is going to get aggressive, is going to go for that loot. He's got to be careful, though. That positioning is in the center of the zone, or not the center of the zone, out in the open. They're moving towards the next zone, and yeah, they're gonna loot up, and then they're gonna have to make a rotation into this area. But we do have Alliance Powder already posted up in the right position here, and I know that we always love spectating the RPGs.
Yeah.
when we come to someone who has an RPG in the 5th zone, you can pretty much ensure if they don't mess up, they're gonna make it pretty far in this game.
Or they'll just, you know, as you said, maybe they'll blow themselves up, which is always a fun thing to see.
Yes.
Of course, not what you want to have happen here if you're Powder.
No, and not on the day that you're punching your ticket. There's only so many spots for these duos to qualify for, and they're so hungry to be able to make it to those finals at the end of July.
24 duos left in this one, and a connection there onto DSIR. Powder putting that blue AR to good use.
Yeah, making sure to follow up with that RPG in case that teammate comes in to try and get that revive, but gets the full finish.
It's going to complete that one. Looking at the zone, you're going to have some players outside of it, but this mountain is going to force some players to engage down low. A lot of open space here in the fields, and this is a perfect place to establish some builds, and also for some of the players that are going to be positioned more on the edge to try and take an opportunity to gatekeep. And Clapper and Nautilus here, they're going to be in a decent spot because they'll be the furthest away, but they gotta be careful not to take any more damage from the Stinker. So they're going to be the furthest, I should say, right in front of that zone. So they're not the furthest, the closest. Yeah. Apologies, the closest to that zone. Everyone else will have to travel quite a distance to get to them.
Yep, and we are in the mountain area range now, so these players are going to be using a lot of strategy over how they want to rotate, where they want to rotate. Do they want to go up and over the mountain? Do they want to hug the side of the mountain? So these guys have a lot of mobility in their inventory right now to be able to make a lot of different decisions. They've got that redeploy and that rift at their disposal when they want to use it, but because they're on that closest edge, they can take their time rotating, looking for any opportunity they can to get some tags on these players as they have to rotate earlier than them.
Credit to a lot of these players as well, recognizing that if you're going to be in this spot, you need to have something that's going to allow you to be able to get out of there. And just as I say that, Legalith goes down to the shots there from that green AR from Nautilus.
Yep, Nautilus showing that he probably did his aim training this morning to get ready for this tournament. And now they don't have that same... Oh, they do. He actually does connect on the mountain there in the top of your screen and is going for the high ground right now. But we're going to check in on this low ground. PAFP and Alliance Powder here. And I just saw PAFP hop out of a baller. So they do have access to a baller. They do have access to that RPG. They're in a great position now. A lot of these players actually opting to play for the low ground. The low ground warriors here. Whoa,
nasty shot. Nasty shot there with the blue combat shotty. You're going to have a player landing right in.
Gene, why don't you start at the beginning?
Something's happened to me, something I can't control, and it scares me. It feels good.
She'll kill us all. The girl dies. Get down!
Are you threatening me? Because that would be a bad idea.
X-Men Dark Phoenix, donderdag in de bioscoop.
In front of Powder, and that was a gift that you can take full advantage of. And now with this smoke, the shadow bomb in effect, they can make their way across and get to a good position where they can start to build out, own some of the territory here, and any players maybe drop down in front of them. They can do the same thing they did to that last player that Powder was able to get, making it the third elimination here. 3 points for this duo. They are now all going to be earning placement points. That was going to be white damage. So this player, they know that they have him basically against the ropes here. And this player knows it. He's going to try and just build and try and defend himself. But your boy, Rax, goes down courtesy of the RPG from Powder. And you called it earlier, Kitty. You said, you see a player with an RPG this late in the game, you can recognize that they're probably going to put that to good use.
Yep, and he is putting it to great use, and has not given up to any of his opponents yet. I really love the way the two of these guys are playing. He's having his teammate PAFP do a lot of the building for him while he's able to focus on aligning these rockets into the opponent's areas. If you can get the right angle and make sure you can get double spray onto both of the teammates and get a double elimination, and these guys looking to get the high ground, they recognize that this zone now is building up, and right away, like being able to get this position now and shoot down on their opponents who are a little bit chaotic, but that's exactly how you punish what they were doing. They were on not enough structure to be able to be safe, and they're looking to strengthen up a little bit more, but they got to be careful. There's an RPG down there too, Powder.
Having the wherewithal in these crazy moments to look up and punish the players that were on the high ground, but no one is there for the follow-up, so Powder and Parfy are able to just reap the benefits of this positioning. And they're going to go down a level. You know, I think that they can do this because they not only have the explodes, but they also don't have a lot of builds. So they need to make use of this. And maybe they can farm some of the builds from these players. And Aries is going to knock down Pothp. And Aries going outside. Looking to challenge here. He's only going to have 3 builds left. And the Flintlock maybe can get a cheeky play going on. We'll have 8 explodes. Sees the player right outside. And what does he opt to do?
Yeah, there's only one duo left in this competition, and that is Poppy finally going down, using the Flintlock to descend, does get the elimination and the Siphon. Now he's got 10 rockets to work with. There's 4 players remaining in this lobby, all solos, 1v1v1, fighting it out for this victory royale. This is where the points matter. We don't have very many spots to punch right now. Powder in that higher ground position. Essential actually did take that spot from him. Aries in the mid ground. Powder drops down to the low. 1v1v1 situation. We got 2 RPGs at play. Essential doesn't have the RPG, but he doesn't need it. Getting a clean shotgun tag onto Aries.
And this is it, coming down to the wire here. 1v1, Essential's going to have the high ground. Powder has no builds, only 1 build left. Essential basically has this game locked down, has the life lead, has the builds to be able to secure it, can drop down and maybe snag that final pickoff. And I think that Essential recognizes this. He's going to drop down. No, Powder! He gets the win. It was Essential's game, but he wasn't sure what the play was. And Powder gets 6 eliminations. The victory royale, making it a 16-point game. What a run.
Wow. Yeah, real interesting choice there to go for that shot. I think he did see that he got 1 tag on him and maybe wasn't sure that he had the health advantage, especially because there's so much action there on the low ground. But doesn't come out with the victory royale, but it's got to be still quite happy. You know, you're getting that all those points for the placement and a couple eliminations. But,
that's huge. That was...
Interesting play. He still had a lot of build, and he was out on his single piece. I think he just got greedy to get that elimination and those final tags onto Powder.
Yeah, and I think that the smart approach from Powder was disengaging further out, not allowing the full use of that combat shotty. It does have a lot of range, but at that point you have no builds, and you know that that player is going to be above you, and more than likely sitting on that square. So there's no real reason for you to be directly underneath him, because we've seen so many times that people just go down and they challenge the fight. That was what a crazy series of events there. But then moving on to our next game is going to be Mick the Beast and Dealers, who clean up Hadams and Oofkilp. What a name.
And there's some dynamite coming in now. Anytime other players hear that engagement happen, they're going to want to take advantage of an opportunity to get shots in or maybe catch them off guard while they're looting with some dynamite. But these two are in a great position right now. They've got a good loadout. Mick the Beast has that boom bow. We've seen how he's been able to put that to work in the past, and they have that rift for the rotation. So these guys got to be feeling good moving into these next zones.
I was going to say my concern about the boom bow is that it takes that shotgun ammo, which is also going to be there for the combat shotty, and they did share ammo amongst one another, so maybe we'll join them again a little bit later on. But for now, we're going to have the Vic here from the stream, and then Mads and Jay. 0 eliminations for this duo. Madsen is going to be feeling a little bit of the pain here, but shouldn't be all that bad. And then Miro goes down thanks to the Vic.
I think we've spectated a Miro elimination today already. It's too bad, Miro. Hopefully we'll get to spectate you from the other side, but obviously doing well to be in these lobbies. Right now we do have Vic. He does have that flintlock. I did see him pull it out for a second, maybe look to take a shot onto his opponent, but doesn't do it. Oh, pulls it out again. I mean, we'll see it.
Yeah, he's just waiting. I think he's waiting to see if he can get that heavy burst damage. They also wanted to go in there and loot up too. That's going to be very imperative for them. Oh man,
he's able to top up his resources and doesn't pick up any more shield though, so won't be able to top up fully after taking those tags. But these guys are in the worst position for this next zone actually. So now they are having to make that rotation. Thankfully, they do have that jump pad to be able to get the best position on this rotation now.
And a bunch of builds too. So you can make a decision in that instance. You can go for the builds there and try and recycle them, get up a little bit higher, or you just play around this mountainside. Because look at the way that this storm is going to be moving. That was a smart decision. Some players may have even just gone for the top of the mountain, but for them, they wanted to be able to tunnel out. By them being able to tunnel out, they have all of this in their possession, and then players are going to be down low. They have the builds, they have the edits, everything working for their advantage.
Yep. Definitely. I like the way that they played this and just doing a single tunnel, too. They're not too high. They got a good position now to aim back and start taking some tags on their opponents because they were the first ones into the safe zone, and they continue to tunnel through. The zone will be closing in 6 seconds and then heading off in another direction, so these guys got to be ready for that. And it doesn't look like they have any access to healing or any more movement, so we'll have to see how they decide to take advantage of that. But Marcotte. Marcotte. Please help me out with that one. I've got some really awesome people that hit my mentions up whenever I mispronounce things, or congratulate me on pronouncing things properly. So I appreciate both.
And you just want the positive adoration. You don't really want anything else.
Oh, no, I appreciate constructive criticism, too. No. As long as it's constructive and intelligent, I'll take it.
I'm kidding.
Hey.
Yeah.
So those guys are doing great.
Those guys are great. By the way, look all the way up at the top there. You see those shenanigans up above?
So chaotic.
Oh, no.
I was just going to say, they are not being held up by very many builds. It looks like a couple of them did have redeploy, but Pickles, you saw, did not, and does go down to that. Vic having 2 eliminations now. Madsen having 0, but in a good position. I mean, they don't have the most amount of builds. They've been doing a lot of tunneling, but now that the way that this zone's moving, they're going to be able to recycle their tunnel and hopefully, and pick up some more build off of Dipper, getting a nice little knock there. Now looking for the teammate.
So interestingly, with the kit that the Vic has, I wonder why he's sticking with the heavy AR when the tactical AR was available in front of him, and you have to imagine that he'd have the light ammunition for that TAC AR, because as it currently stands, your drum gun's going to be using the same ammo pool as your heavy AR, and you don't have a lot of shots left. So I think that it's going to be mostly falling to the combat shotty and then the pickaxe to tear through anything that he's going to need to get through here if any players put some opposing builds. It's going to be someone down low. The nades are coming out now. I love seeing a good grenade play. When in doubt, throw grenades. That's the GB way.
Yeah, I also do that.
Just throw all the nades. If you have a max nade inventory, throw them all.
Yep, my most elimination summer skirmish event was from grenades. I think I got 3 at once. Sorry, Jalmock.
Chucking nades.
Yeah, but here we go. We've got some guys on the high ground. That's Squalls and Marcotte. We're just for Marcotte. We're going to get that pronunciation right next game. Ricky on the low ground looking to find Kirache. Does get taken out. We got a lot of players in this mid ground as well. Falcony does get sandwiched. Now Squalls looking to make a lower ground play. Kirache actually using a jump pad to come up, but it does not go in his favor. All this fighting around the jump pad. I think Vic and Madsen just got so focused on that. Marcotte and Squalls coming down at the perfect time when there was the chaos on that low ground and taking off those opponents.
And I felt
Jane, why don't you start at the beginning?
Something's happened to me. Something I can't control. And it scares me. It feels good.
She'll kill us all. The girl dies. Get down!
Are you threatening me? Because that would be a bad idea.
X-Men Dark Phoenix. Donderdag in de bioscoop.
Eliminations.
the skin was apropos there. They were patrolling the high ground.
Patrolling the high ground.
They got the win. Let's send it over to Zeke in the studio.
Thank you guys so much. Man, I love this caster pair. Golden Boy, Kitty Plays. Who has more fun? Probably me and Pookie, but, you know, that's to be figured out. Just kidding. I can hear you guys. I'm just kidding. All right, Fortnite fam. We're hanging out with Sundown right now. We're going to take a look at some awesome replays that you've pulled for us. Talk about the standings. Let's hop on into it.
Yes, let's take a look indeed here. First, we're going to hop on board with a great individual effort out of Larson. So we're going to take a quick look at the team play, the double heavy snipe, which has largely become a staple of kind of the competitive play. But now now let's see what Larson's able to do when he goes to work kind of on his own. Now, Faji is still up in this circumstance, but they're kind of rotating separately. You can see Larson did hit a boogie bomb through the window and is able to follow up onto Terminator Boy. But at this point, Faji has been taken down, so Larson's all on his lonesome, uses the reverse stare at it to push into the box and picks up a great double. Now dropping down to the opportune time, picks up Moth Likes Lamps, but unfortunately, Larson, no matter how good you are, Stompy and Tashinkin are just a little bit better. Even here on the 4 HP, Stompy goes back in challenges. For ZR, the player for BTL, his awareness here, he picks up Kelpie with a knockdown there and then gets a couple shots, but he does it again, not once, but twice, knocking down the players on the high ground to give himself control of it and then converting that into elimination. So what does that end up meaning? That means 4ZR now is in a 1v1 with high ground control off the side of the map, with mat advantage as well, forcing this player over onto the side. Unfortunately, a little bit of a mistake from Patrick, opted not to go for the jump pad, his only way out of there, and great cleanup from 4ZR. But Powder was the hero of this third match, doing so incredibly well, making sure he picks up 2 elims there, getting the Shadow Bob, and then getting over to the far side of the zone. We talk about that, getting over to the far side early on those zones, so you can then do exactly this. You see him and Pappy about facing and just spraying shots into all of these players who are being forced to move. Rax gets taken down, but what was almost a collateral RPG, just firing it out there because he had one to throw, and then he just keeps the minigun running. Pappy over on the side as they continue spraying shots down. The rocket connects, a couple of bullets spray, takeoffs gets picked up as well, but they're not done there. Still running the high ground. I just have to give a shout out to Ares because this play is sick. Catches the rocket on the back of the ramp to knock down Pappy, so almost has an opportunity to make a play here, but what does he do? Stuck on the high ground. Very little mats, only 3 left, but he has the flint knock in that 3rd spot. Knows Pappy is going to go down from the siphon. So what does he opt to do? Drop down, catch himself with the flint knock. Siphon goes over on the Pappy, and then boom, right into the action. Wow. Picks up Martine, and then he's going to keep going. It's a 1v1v1. He will get cleaned out, but Powder, who is on the high ground, is now on the low ground, has a singular mat, is even on the health, but can't take the ticks. As soon as he takes the combat shot, that could be it, but he goes and challenges the 66 headshot into back-to-back armor ticks with the fall damage, clutching it up for Powder and Pappy. And on a day where every interaction matters, something like that could potentially be huge. And I mean, they're on the board right now, 49 points, they're in striking distance.
You know, as impressive as that is, I think we just have to turn our attention up to the 2 different pairs of duos, by the way, that have already qualified, are still just dumpstering the region. Mitra and Rongo, and Tashinkin and Stompy. I think you said it best. They just don't know how to not be at the top.
To be fair, the spread has kind of tightened up a little bit. But again,
sure.
They don't know how to be just like kind of convenient and let somebody else have their turn.
They're like, no, we're going to be at the top. Yeah.
Back in school, but now, again, rocking it out there. And something else, all these guys very close in terms of their time management right now. Something we don't typically see going into the last hour. Generally, there's a couple teams who have played a few more games or going elim heavy. But now, it seems like Europe has kind of got into a groove where on Saturdays, everyone kind of buckles down. The matches are that much harder, being the most difficult region to qualify and having the highest point threshold. I mean, these Sunday matches are intense.
Man, well, let's get ready to hop back into those games. I can't wait to say who's coming through. So, Golden Boy, Kitty Plays, we're going to send it back your way.
Thank you so much, fellas. And a few things. I was on the Fortnite competitive Reddit on the discussion thread. So shout out to the community there as well. Always providing good insight. So my mind was just blown. You want to know how my mind was blown away?
Tell me how your mind was blown.
I've been saying, and all of us have been saying, to Chinkin for the longest time, but apparently it's just Chinkin.
I think I've been saying Chinkin.
Have you?
I think so.
Damn.
Run it back. Give me the replay.
Run it back, people. I need to know. And then, of course, I asked people. I put out the hot take. I said I felt like Stompy and Chinkin.
Shinkin.
I don't know. When I see it CH, I think Chinkin. But there's a TS in front of it. You see, man, here's the thing, all right? New York
well, we better learn this by Worlds.
The New York public education system failed me, all right? And, you know, stay in school, kids, all right? Don't be like, you know, Uncle GB over here. And
oh my gosh, I am loving the way that these guys are using
but be like
the
Hawkers and
marker
Keolis.
strategy. They mark strategy it, and then they open that double window and just like clockwork are firing these shots out, taking advantage of anyone that only has one wall in between them and their heavy snipers. Keolis, wow. If you guys want to see how to do a double heavy snipe right with your duo, then these guys are putting on a class. That's absolutely perfect.
So, you know, just in closing on that thought there, since we have Chinkin on screen, I just want to give a shout out to Three Finger Bill and the Glow Rider on Reddit for pointing it out to me.
We love the interaction. Yep.
Yes.
We do read those Reddits, but we also read Twitter. If you guys want to do a hashtag Fortnite World Cup. Oh, her finger is hovering over that button.
She's so good.
Constantly waiting for me or someone to say Twitter. But make sure to put the hashtag Fortnite World Cup.
Also works on Instagram as well. So if you post on Instagram, you know, you can find all the posts, updates.
Take some cute screenshots of your shirt.
Yeah, we have a lot of great community like you know, accounts that follow and track all the qualifier news and all the latest action.
Yes.
Kind of like the plays that you'll see out of Chinkin and Stompy here.
On a Sunday qualifying day, they've already qualified, and they're just putting on a show. Like being able to go for the removal of that floor into the double trap. Didn't even need the trap, both landing their shotgun shots. Yep.
I love it. Dropping players down into
great
the trap.
gameplay.
I also have to give a shout out, because we didn't talk about it, to Idem and Durox, who are in third place. Remember, this is the duo yesterday that had a 41 elimination game.
Wow.
And a lot of us asked the question, can they do it again on Sunday? So far, that duo is looking really good. I think they were sitting right below Chinkin and Stompy, who are considered to be, you know, besides Mitra and Mongrel, I mean, the favorites, really, for the finals in New York. So shout outs to those guys.
It's going to be great to see these guys face off on land, too. It's going to be really interesting.
And I think that's the part that a lot of people are not really taking into consideration. And this is another thing that I had said as well on Reddit, is that playing from home is a completely different beast than playing in that arena. You're going to have just a bunch of fans, people watching your every single move, the audience, the noise, the volume, everything. It's a sensory overload when you're competing in a live environment like this. It's a different vibe. And I think that a lot of players, you know, they're playing really well right now, but that is going to be the real test. How can they perform in this moment when millions of dollars are going to be on the line? That's a rough one.
Yeah, when you're safe and sound like this, it's definitely easier to play and not having that same level of comfort going into the LAN. You're really going to see how much LAN experience is going to help a lot of these players.
And even for yourself, you've had the opportunity to compete at the Fortnite Pro-Am. I remember, Cassie, you finished third in that one. That was actually pretty awesome. And then you also competed in Korea, which is like the mecca.
You know, hub of esports.
The mecca of esports.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, just calm down there. But you know,
Turner and I might have gotten first place in that event. You know, it was a good day.
Yeah, you did. You did. You held your own.
Our money to charity.
You know,
local SPCA and the women's shelter benefited from those ones.
It is just anecdotal evidence of the pressure that you feel on a stage like that. Even for a charity event, and even then, you want to win for the charity, so you're feeling it even more so.
Cartoon getting in the build fight of his life right now to take this high ground. And I think he's still kept it yet. But yeah, 100%. And I think it's not really a way to practice for these LAN environments either. I think a lot of it's just mental willpower and visualizing an outcome and staying calm and positive and keeping a good... mindset. So if you guys are a qualified player or thinking you are going to qualify and be part of the World Cup event, there's a lot of things that you can do to prepare yourself. Learning breathing techniques and staying calm will be really important. Wow, Cartoon picking up 2 eliminations with that rocket. Yeah, when we start to see a high ground rocket player in the position and in the hands of someone like Cartoon who totally understands all of the physics around angling those rockets to make sure they're doing the most damage possible, you're going to see a lot of eliminations happen. But we got tons of action here. These are the final moments of this lobby. Stompy and Shinken just totally owning this mid ground. Bella EU looks like has no build, and yet we're going to come spectate him. Does in fact have no builds. Is just working around whatever he can. Gets a nice little gift, like 18 builds now that he's going to be able to base
he
up
literally
a little bit.
Came out of the grass
And
there. It looked like
2 med kits.
he was one with the environment. Absolutely madness. But Bella EU now looking around, seeing if they can find any player, and you're going to have one player right on the outside.
He really wants to get that med kit off, but I don't think he's going to get the opportunity. Instead, hoping to probably get the siphon here. He does get the elimination onto Stompy, goes for the full elim to get that siphon. Now he's got Shinken right next to him. Shinken is not doing well either. He does not have the health that he needs to contest this. If he's able to land those shots, Cartoon and Ardit still on that high ground with that RPG, and we have Azonai onto the ground as well. And Ardit now choosing to drop down, does take out Shinken. Bella AEU and A's having a little bit of a 1v1 down below, but Cartoon is just raining down these rockets right now.
And there you have it, the victory royale as Ardit and Cartoon high ground control, sending all the explodes in the server down to those players, and there was no chance for them. It was like a snowball right in this desert here of them being able to survive from the onslaught that we saw. But speaking of snowballs, we're going to go right over to the snow biome here on the island. We got a lot of players still kicking in this match, and we have 2 premier players here, Hunter and Kinstar from Solari. They had qualified last week in what was an emotional.
Is it Solari or Solari?
I think it's kind of like tomato.
Tomato, okay, I like that.
You know?
Yeah. We love you guys. You guys have some great players. So now Kinstar and Hunter have been ones to watch out for.
Yeah, they have, and they qualified last week. And also, just a note, I believe, I'll check right now, but I believe on Twitch, the Solari stream is live with the French commentators and coaches there. So if you want to see some awesome hype commentary, maybe you don't understand the language, but you can tell excitement.
Get excited.
You can tell excitement. You can tell hype. Doesn't matter what language you're speaking. Definitely check that out.
Definitely, and they do pick up some nice utility here, a couple slurps, a big pot, lots of resources they're going to be able to top off, and they have access to those 2 rifts. So these 2 are in a great position now with that early momentum to be able to convert into a victory royale if they so please. But lots of players still left in this lobby right now. We've got Kazorla and Johnny Boy.
Johnny Boy?
Johnny Boy. Oh, so this is the same thing as the Shinken thing. Johnny.
I'm assuming it's
Johnny Boy.
Johnny? DiGiorno.
I think you just put more power into the J.
Well, it's not delivery. It's DeJohnny Boy.
No, not like that.
You guys are welcome. Someone messaged me, by the way, and said that my jokes are amazing. So just wanted to give a shout out to a few of the folks on social media, except for Luke Z M8, who said, "Golden Boy FTW, stop please."
Just stop. Nothing else.
Just stop.
No
please.
other advice. Just stop.
Just stop, man. Just stop.
You know, it's so funny with negative comments. Why are those always the?
Oh no, he's not being negative. It was a laughing emoji with it too.
Okay.
It was just funny. It's
okay.
like it wasn't negative. You know.
No. It's neutral.
It was
just stop.
He's just giving me good life advice, Kitty. That's really all it boils down to.
Please keep going. Please keep going. Don't stop, or just stop life advice, guys. Okay, here we are. Kazorla, 4 eliminations. Johnny Boy sitting on no eliminations, but I bet he's being as supportive as ever. Teammate, they are raining in shots now on this opponent. They know that he is weak, and you see some shots coming in from the top right too. This is typical end game lobby play when they see someone focusing down an enemy. They want to get any shot they can, hopefully catch the player off guard and sneak that last shot in to get that elimination. And wow,
That's
Cazorla
it.
picking up that elimination. He didn't get both. I think the other team on the high ground did get the other one, and these guys are going to try and pick up that loot, whatever they can, max out their resources. Again, we got John Trot, Frontes in this lobby, Takashi and Azale as well. Kinstar, we just saw them use one of their 2 rifts right now into the air, so they do still have access to that other rift. We're going to spectate Hunter now, though. Has those 4 shadow bombs. A few players in the sky now. Joy, Kupex, Lol, Mage. You know, if you guys are making it this far in these EU